I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino.
Welcome back, Slotcar family. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Thanks for coming back. If you are someone who's been here already, thanks for stopping by if you're a first timer. Today I want to do an absolute unfair comparison. I've had this in my head for quite a while because I love the car, but I just wanted to take the advantage that I have, because I have the cars here, to compare them. Now, what is this fuss all about? I want to take you with me on a test ride comparing a slot car that is roughly, it must be like 20, 25, maybe 30 years old. It's an old polysteel Lancia Delta Integrale compared to today's beauty from SRC, which is also the Lancia, not really the Integrale, it's the S4 this time that I've got from SRC. Give me a sec. Here it is, which is an absolute beauty if you ask me. And just to share and compare the differences of roughly 30 years of slot car history, the changes that have been made. Now, let's start with the apparel, the livery, the looks, the details. I mean, of course, I told you it's unfair. I haven't added the matte fenders yet. It is an absolute unfair comparison. Also, the technology comparison is unfair. This is an absolute smooth running gear just by touching it. We're going to check that out on the test bench later on. Give me a sec, I'll just wrap that, put it aside, because we're also going to unbox, of course, the polysteel car. Hang on, wrong side. Yeah. So, this is what the polysteel Lancia Delta looks like. Again, it is an unfair comparison all the way. Now, if you look at the chassis, you already see the difference. Plus, check this out. This is the chassis of an old polysteel car, and the gear is loud. And the braids, by the way, this is old braid going through the hole here and then being turned around. So if you wanted to swap a braid on that car, you would have to loosen that screw, have a very long braid, and bring it all the way up. Again, bring it all the way up to here. Yep. The tires, the rubber feels still good on the polysteel, so let's check out the test bench. And here we are directly at the test bench. And as you can see, the SRC has got a four-wheel drive. There is a little movement on the chassis, yes, I have to admit, but let's check out the direct comparison to the old chassis, and this tells you why this is an unfair comparison all through the whole comparison, so to say. Again, just to show you the differences, that is compared to the old car, a smooth running
four-wheel launch here, and we've got a, looks like a rabbit to me more, polysteel launch here on the test bench. This is no surprise, and it is really just to show you the differences in quality management in the old days and today. Good comparison, if you ask me. Now, let's check out the details on the car one more time. Here you've got the SRC, which is covered with a lot of details, and the chassis. I have not opened it yet. Gonna do that towards the end of the video. And the chassis of the polysteel with the magnet in. The SRC does not have a magnet, so again, another unfair component, so to say, or part of this whole comparison. But again, I wanted to do it because I wanted to show you what has changed during the time. Let's hit the track. Here we are already at the track, at our club track, the unfair comparison. First of all, I wanted to show you what the cars look like on track and maybe a little size comparison. Are they really both the same size? Which one's bigger, which one's smaller? Are they looking scale? Basically, yes, they are. I mean, coming out of the 80s, the details were, of course, not that high. Versus the SRC, they are really, really in love with details, as you can see on this car. And the sizes, the policar is slightly bigger, to be honest, but only if you look really, really close. Now, let's start off with the policar. And yes, my clubmates were driving those cars for me, so I could do the filming. And of course, no one of us is used to driving a strong magnet car, as this one is. It is really a heavy magnet, and that way it is nice to drive, meaning, of course, all the, how shall we say it, the gear and the not so round axle, wheels and tires are, you can get over it if you put in a strong magnet, as this one has right out of the box. And it was a nice driver. You have to adjust your style of driving, coming from non-magnet, as you can see here. Yes, of course we deslotted a few times. Now a little slow motion here to show you how well it actually sticks in the corners to the track. And yes, the heavy magnet does its job, absolutely. I will not try to remove the magnet out of this car. I will just keep it as it is. It's so brand new looking, still so good looking, so I will definitely not change a thing. I will keep it in the package, and I think it will stay a shelf queen. Now, switch over to the SRC, the modern one. And as you can see here right away, of course it's a little tail heavy, but again, it was a massive change for us to drive this car, as it's got this four-wheel drive. And the four-wheel, you do notice the four-wheel drive a lot. It brakes a lot heavier, so all of us opened our brakes on our controllers. But it's fun to drive. The tires are great, the rubber, the grip was great. It's just a different way of driving. And also, of course, here I've got a slow-mo for you, but you could already see in the normal standard videos, it is a little more tail happy, but not that much really, not that much. And again, also here in the slow-mo, you can clearly see, yes, there is a little fishtailing, but catching it right away. So the thing I have not shown you yet was the inside of the chassis of the SRC car. And here it is. It's a piece of art, to be honest. Let's start off with the four-wheel drive. You can see it here in the front. There's a belt, and in the rear as well. The red part on the front axle and this see-through part in the rear axle, and there is this rubber band between front and rear axle. And now the unbelievable thing is it has a four-wheel suspension, which means the front axle has got its own suspension, as you can see here, on both wheels separately, and the same applies for the rear axle. It's got a suspension built in going onto the bushings. And that's why this car is also very smooth to drive. And of course, the rally guys love this car. Now I know why. It's a piece of art, again. It's built in Europe. It's handcrafted, and it is a beauty and very, very nice to drive. I didn't put in the driver's the cockpit yet. I didn't put in that there are several parts that you can actually still attach that come with the original package. I just took it out of the package. I wanted to have the most fair, unfair comparison I could get. Thank you so much to all of my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, coming back, watching my video, leaving comments, for all the interaction I have with this great community. Thank you so much. You made this trip possible. And of course, as always with Slotcar Dude, don't forget, there is more to come.